We are all the way here in Makeni at Rock Farm with Mr. Ncube. This name is giving me issues.
Yeah, Ncube.
Ncube. Okay. I welcome you to today's edition of AgriFocus with ETG.
Thank you. You're welcome.
How big is your farm?
Well, we have 3 hectares under onions right now. Okay. Altogether, it's about 3 hectares.
Ah.
Yeah.
What kind of onion is this?
Well, this is a bulb onion. Okay. Yeah, it's called bulb onion.
How do you grow this, your onion?
Well, we start by serious land prep. Yeah, it means that you have to plow your land. We do plow our land maybe twice because it's hard soil. Yeah. After plowing twice, maybe then we give it a very good disking so that we prepare the seed bed. Okay. Yeah, and then when the seed bed is ready, we begin now to make some beds. Because of the type of irrigation that we're using, this one of rain horses, so we have to make our beds about 4 meters each. Okay. And then we make some lines. Yeah, the lines that we make about 15 centimeters wide. Okay. Yeah, and make small furrows.
Okay, so now you have your seed, you plant it.
Yeah.
How long does it take for it to germinate?
We normally plant our onions in February. Okay. Yeah, when it's really wet. It takes about 6 days for them to come up. Okay. Yeah, it also depends on how deep you plant them. Well, the idea of planting onions is to make sure they are just underneath the soil, so that you can almost see some of them. Yeah, so that you maximize germination. Okay. But if you bury them too deep, it will take much longer for them to come up. By the time they come up, they'll be tired, and they may even get compacted. Okay. Yeah, so you must make sure you plant them shallow, so that they're just hidden under the soil, and then you give them good irrigation. Okay. That is, if it's not raining. Okay. If you're lucky enough and it's raining, like we are planting in February, then it's an added advantage because you just have to top up with irrigation. Okay. Yeah.
How many times do you water it in a day?
Well, basically for onions, once they've germinated, we irrigate them every 4 days. Okay. Every 4 days. That is when they're just growing after germination. It also depends on the type of soil. Yeah, some soils dry very quickly, but our soils here, they are kind of sandy soils. They don't get very dry quickly. So we give them, we irrigate them after 4 days. We are back again, we irrigate. Yeah, but when it's really, really dry and so windy, because the wind dries the soil quickly, we may have to irrigate maybe after 2 days. Yeah, to make sure that the soil is moist. We don't lose the young plants. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Is it organic, or maybe you put fertilizer or maybe chemicals in it? And at what stage do you apply fertilizer and also chemicals?
Even before we plant, we have to broadcast fertilizers, and we use veg mix C. That is for basal dressing. Yeah, before we plant, and then after they're out, about a month later, we come in now with the top dressings. With the ammonium sulfate. Okay. Yeah, that's what we use now. We may use that maybe twice, about 2 weeks apart. Okay. Yeah, to boost up the growth of the plants. Yes, yes. Yeah, and then time again we use the top 24s. To boost up the growth of the tubers. Yeah, we get them from ETG. Okay. Yeah, that's why we get most of our chemicals and fertilizers. Okay. Yeah, they've got reliable fertilizers, pre-mixed, so we have no headache of using several compounds. Okay. Yeah, we use fertilizer that is already mixed. Okay. Specifically for onions.
How long does it take for it to be ready in the field, and how can you know that now my onions are ready for market?
Yeah, they are ready to be harvested in about 4 months' time. That's about 120 days. Okay. And also, what matters is how you've managed them. If you've managed them properly, they'll take slightly less than that, or about that much time. And the best way to know that your onions have matured, the leaves will start turning yellow. Yeah, and very soon when they turn yellow, the tops will start falling off. Okay. Yeah, when the tops fall off, then you know that now they are almost maturing, but not yet ready. Okay. Yeah, because they'll fall off sometimes even when they are green, meaning that the growth has cut off. Okay. But they'll continue expanding even if they're falling off for some time. Okay. So you don't need to harvest them immediately after the tops have fallen off because they're still growing. If you harvest them too early, before they are really ready or before they are hard, then the shelf life is shortened. But if you leave them to mature fully in the field, they always turn brown. They even have a brown covering, knowing that now they're really hard and they're ready for the market.
So how much do you harvest per hectare?
For every hectare, we expect to harvest about 3,000 by 12 kg pockets. Wow. From 1 hectare. Okay. Yeah, so we can work out that to see how many tons that is.
Okay. How do you dry them and how do you preserve them?
Actually, we cut off irrigation at some point after they've fallen off. We cut off irrigation. Then you lift them. You also leave them. After you have lifted them, you leave them to dry. Okay. The roots must dry. And then after a couple of days again, you come back now and start preparing them, or maybe processing them, removing the roots and also the tops. And then after that, they are ready to be packed in the bags. Okay. Yeah. Then once they are packed in the bags, then you take them to a shade, which is dry, meaning that it must also be protected from the sun. Yeah. It must be a roofed storage and also dry. Basically, that's what. For us, we mostly, straight from the field, they go to the market. We rarely store them unless we harvest them in November when it's raining. Okay. Then from the field, they go straight to the shade, waiting for the market. Okay. Yeah.
So, Mr. Ncube, how long have you been growing onions? What kind of challenges have you encountered so far?
We've grown onions now for more than 20 years. Wow. Yeah, and each time we notice that the market is going to, we suspect that the market is going to be good, we grow them. And the only challenge that you have with onion is water. If you don't have enough water, then you might not get good yields. Okay. Yeah. So what you need enough water to grow onions. Since we hand plant our crop, so after planting, you find that some of the lines have got more seedlings, so you have to remove, you have to thin out.
What kind of advice do you have for farmers out there who are watching, or maybe those who don't have the interest, but now from what they've heard from you, it's like you're making a lot of money actually, from what I can see.
If you can look at these beds where we're sitting on here, we are sitting on these beds that are about 4 meters wide. Now, each one of these beds here is about 150 meters. Now, we expect to harvest about 350 pockets from each of these beds here. Now, if you look at the current price that we have on the market, which is about maybe ranging between 90 and 100. So you already know that that is already about 30,000, isn't it? Yeah. So who would not want to get 30,000 from one bed? Wow. So I'm just giving you a hint of how much you can get from one. But it doesn't just come like that. You have to work hard for it. There are a lot of things involved. Basically, onions are a high value crop, and the seeds are very expensive. And because they're expensive, you must do everything correctly so that you don't lose out. If you do everything correctly, you will never regret as a farmer. Okay. Yeah.
All right, that was Mr. Ncube for you there, explaining and also telling us the goodness that is in onion farming.